Good evening, boys and girls. Good evening, ladies and gents. It's Wedgetail here. Are you having a lovely Halloween? Or at the very least a lovely weekend, because this year Halloween is Monday. So, a weekend is still a nice weekend. As a Halloween weekend at that. As you can see, I've got myself a suitably spooky shirt, courtesy of Sabaton and Attack of the Dead Men. And it feels pretty good for the occasion. So, continuing from the last upload, we're going to do some reacting to Tats TopVideos. Yes. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be nostalgic for me, because I remember watching these videos and the creepypastas that are in them when I was in year 12 in high school. I mean, look, here's a school diary from my high school, Townsville State High. And it was a lovely time. It was certainly a nice time to grow up in. But creepypastas were everywhere back then. I mean, we were talking about it after class, during lunchtime, and I was sharing videos like this to my friends who I miss very much. We were a proud lot, our class of 2014. But anyway, that's enough talking. Let's dive right in. Okay, let's go. I've also added this light so you can see me a bit better.
This video contains disturbing content, violent content, jump scares, and sudden loud noises. Viewer discretion advised.
Now that's a hell of a way to start the video! Alright, but as the talking robot said, this is your last warning.
Creepypastas are essentially internet horror stories or myths passed around on forums and other sites to disturb and frighten readers and viewers. The name creepypasta comes from the word copypasta, an internet slang term for a block of text that gets copied and pasted over and over again from website to website. Creepypastas are sometimes supplemented with pictures, audio, or video footage related to the story, typically with gory, distorted, or otherwise shocking content.
That's the proper definition of creepypasta, and it's still the definition today.
We covered a few of these in our top 20 creepy urban game legends, and so these won't be covered again. However, these are our top 22 revamped non-gaming creepypastas.
Okay, let's do this. Do your worst. Bring it on. That's a pretty scary, number screen, I gotta admit.
God's Mouth. During a mountaineering adventure, a man and woman enter a mysterious cave labeled God's Mouth. Despite the warnings around the entrance, they explore the solitary cave. The man soon feels a strangely warm wall before losing grip of the woman's hand and allowing her to disappear further into the cave. He starts to call for her and look around.
Oh, this is scary.
Before he knew it, he was alone and trapped, with nothing but four walls surrounding him. After a few hours, he begins to accept his inevitable fate. He sits down and feels the wall touch his back. He begins to cry as the torch slowly fades into darkness, and he sees a hand with painted red fingernails, and he watches as the God's Mouth devours its latest prey.
That's terrifying.
Mariana Mortigard Glasgow.
What kind of a name is that?
Named Mariana Mortigard Glasgow. If you search for this, you will probably find.
I don't know if you saw that, but it had a rating of 7.7 out of 10 on a Creepypasta site. Yeah, there it is.
Sometimes you will. You'll just see a 20-second video of a man staring at you. Expression.
Hey, there's a Rad Brad video on the side. Oh, that's very nice. Yeah, I was just watching him play the new Modern Warfare 2. How cool.
Then grinning for the last 2 seconds. This is actually only part of the video. The full video lasts 2 minutes and was removed by YouTube after the 153 people either slashed marks on their arms, gouged out their eyes, or committed suicide. The cryptic inscription they carved has not yet been deciphered. YouTube periodically put up the first 20 seconds of the video to quell suspicions so that people wouldn't go looking for the real thing and re-upload it. The video itself was only viewed by...
Is he even smiling in that picture?
Who started screaming after about 45 seconds.
YouTube staff reviews his content? Okay.
Mr. Widemouth. Mr. Widemouth is about a creepy entity.
Oh god, that's not cool.
Around the ages
Also, it's ripped from the Cheshire Cat by Alice in Wonderland. Yeah.
of 4 to 6. Mr. Widemouth does his best to lure the child he has chosen into a false sense of friendship. It's believed that he tries to get the child to commit suicide by telling them,
If you pretend hard enough, there will be a trampoline under the window. And when you jump out, you'll bounce right back up like a feather.
or,
I want to teach you how to jump. Here's what you'll need.
it's been reported that kids have been seen trying to juggle knives or attempt to jump from windows before they were stopped. He pesters children until they end up taking their own life, and it's rumored that he takes...
Also, there is a lot of mentions of suicide in these stories. Yeah, it is scary, but at the same time, this topic needs to be taken a bit seriously. All right. So, if you are contemplating suicide, please seek help immediately. There's no joke here. Seek help. Anyway, moving on.
takes the children's souls after they are gone, to do with whatever he pleases.
Ugh.
The Holders.
The what?
The Holders is a series of creepypastas accounting for the possible ways of gathering different sets of magic items, up to 538, that would supposedly curse its owner forever and bring a dark, unspeakable fate to the world once put together. Nobody really knows if these objects are real, or if there are indeed a set number of objects that exist in our world that yearn for a reunion with their kin.
Is that a rifle?
Speculation runs rampant.
It's like a sniper.
What makes
It's like
the
a
Holders
sniper
stories
rifle.
so enticing is the possibility any person could go into a special institution, ask to visit a holder, and be forced to undergo a test of power to earn an object. The people who want to take part in the recovering adventures are called the Seekers. These Seekers have set out for three main reasons:
Nice.
to seek for power, to seek
Oh,
for
damn.
reunion, or to seek for separation. Their goals are known to mutate and change them into villains and monsters, but we can only hope that one with a just heart prevails over these foes.
Yeah.
The SCP Foundation.
Of
The
course.
SCP Foundation is an organization with a murky past. Various agencies from around the world operate to maintain human independence from extraterrestrial, extra-dimensional, and extra-universal threats. In the past, humankind has been at the whim of these bizarre artifacts and similar phenomena. But it's now reached a point in history where they can begin to control and obtain these defiances of natural law.
Nice.
D-class personnel recruited from death row inmates are apparently used for human testing in almost every aspect.
Every
The
aspect.
Foundation occasionally runs into other groups, such as the Global Occult Coalition and the Church of the Broken God. Items can be an object, place, person,
Oh.
animal, or even
Oh, what is that thing?
cards. They are given an
Oh.
item such as SCP-XX and categorized. SCPs are grouped as being safe, elusive, or Keter, which are classifications that explain expected threats.
There's over 2,000
The
now.
Foundation collects and protects the SCPs from getting into the hands of others. SCP-173 was the first SCP object written and served as the inspiration for the project.
That's not the picture they use anymore, apparently. Apparently there was like some kind of copyright thingamajig.
It's described to be a statue-like entity that cannot move while in direct eyesight and will kill by breaking the
that's-
neck of a victim if not observed.
Like an angel that weeps. Except this actually predated the weeping angels of Doctor Who.
Squidward's suicide.
Ugh.
An ex-Nickelodeon intern recalls the time that he witnessed a very different episode of SpongeBob
This is definitely one of the more infamous creepypastas.
titled Squidward's Suicide back in 2005. We're told that the producers of SpongeBob would sometimes put little Easter eggs into the episode as a bit of a joke before it was finalized. But this was no Easter egg, as they sat and watched the first run of the original episode of Fear of a Krabby Patty. In the episode's beginning, we see Squidward practicing for a clarinet concert, and later that night when he finishes his piece in front of the crowd, things start to get strange. The crowd, along with SpongeBob, had hyper-realistic eyes, and they were all booing Squidward very aggressively, and he looked genuinely afraid. The next scene is shown with Squidward sobbing on his bed, with absolute silence and a faint laughter in the background, before cutting to a single frame of a dead, distorted child mangled up on the pavement, and then later on another of a girl who is also mangled in much the same way. Cutting back and forth to these different horrific scenes, the sound of wind, and screaming and crying. Eventually, at the end, a mysterious voice tells Squidward, and then he shoots himself in the mouth with a gun, and the episode ends.
Holy crap, that's terrifying. Oh.
Appy.
Oh no. This one has not aged very well, and I'll explain in a moment.
Appy was originally a Nick Jr. television show, with its main star being an apple named Appy, who taught children how to act and handle.
Is this a real article?
Materials.
I feel like...
The first couple of episodes seemed pretty normal and went well, until after the first two. Things started to get worse. Nickelodeon removed the show after...
Yeah, they totally made that from a Word document. But it fooled me for a while when I was in high school. Oh, Kipper the dog. Oh, I remember Kipper the dog. Oh, how nice. Lazy Town, yeah. Maisie Mouse, of course. I wonder if they have creepypastas.
after only 8 episodes and removed all traces of the files. Appy helped children when they got hurt. He was a clay apple held up by a rusty bent stick. But as the show went on, it got weirder and weirder. He developed a death stare and an evil smile. By the 8th episode,
Oh,
he
that's...
wasn't even made of clay anymore. The show progressed to get even worse. 2001 reports state that the episode seemed to depict happenings of disasters and tragedies before it was suddenly and unexpectedly taken off the air without a single trace of its existence.
Also, the reason why that episode hadn't aged very well is because, well, how do I put it? Yeah, it was scary enough with disturbing cartoons and all that. But the Happy Apples company that seemed to inspire that had to recall its stock of candy apples after they were found to be contaminated. 7 people died. And bear in mind, that was after this story was complete.
Candle Cove.
Oh,
This one
yeah.
takes place like a blog post that talks about a very old kids' TV show, which was about pirates and had some controversy because the main villain being a skin-taking skeleton, and the horrific screaming episode, which had every character except the laughingstock ship screaming at the camera, while Janice cried, possibly having
Who's
the
Janice?
powers of it.
The main character?
His recollections of the show are traded back and forth.
What kind of puppets are
It's
these?
clear that beneath the show's cutesy and disarmingly low-budget appearance is something very dark, disturbing. And by the end, it's implied that the show is something much, much more sinister than a half-remembered childhood memory.
Jeez.
Cupcakes.
What? Oh, what on earth? Discord?
Why, hello there, everybody. This is your favorite creature of chaos, the Draconiquist Discord. Here to tell you about this particular creepypasta known amongst the community as My Little Pony Cupcake.
And just so you know, for those who don't know, like Discord is a main villain, I think, in the MLP universe. Or didn't he redeem himself? I don't know. Well, I do know that, yeah, I know my fair share of bronies, especially 10 years ago in YWAM New Street, and even high school as well.
It is quite possibly the most notorious My Little Pony fanfic ever written.
Tell us, Discord.
The character Pinkie Pie as a serial killer who drugs her friend Rainbow Dash.
Oh, what the heck?
Hidden Seven. Pinkie Pie appears wearing a dress made of pony skins, wings, horns, and cutie marks of her previous victims.
Buffalo Bill
and
much?
begins to brutally murder Rainbow Dash sadistically.
Oh, what the heck? What the hell?
The fanfic has caused a lot of fear in the brony community and has since went viral across the internet, creating lots of blog posts and alternate endings. Has been attributed as Sergeant Sprinkles.
Sergeant Sprinkles, you did this!
Oh, you're here! Just in time!
What the?
There's a fresh batch of cupcakes! Oh, but it looks like I'm missing a few. Oh well, you came just at the right time!
What the heck? Tats, why would you do that to your sister? Come on now.
The Rake
Yep.
is a creepypasta story.
Markiplier and his friends just made a game about this a while ago. No, not played a game, sorry.
A humanoid creature that stalks and attacks people in a manner similar to Slenderman.
Yeah, we'll get to Slenderman in a moment.
Who is said to stalk people in ordinary areas,
Ugh.
gardens and trees, but he will never attack unless provoked, but will stare and follow you around. Its facial features are somewhat similar to the infamous Slenderman, with
You just
two
said that.
large eyes and a small mouth, which expands to 5 times its size, provoked and
But Slenderman doesn't have eyes or
an
mouth.
army of small, bludgeoning teeth,
Uh.
with no escape, with no chance of ever getting out alive. According to the mythology,
Oh my god,
been
that's...
described as early as in the 12th century.
Why did that get me?
Documented for the first time in 1691. The story also alleges that strange events in the northeastern United States involving the creature led to brief local media interest in the summer of 2003. But most written accounts of the creature have been mysteriously destroyed.
Yeah.
Slenderman.
Yes.
Slenderman myth started on the Something Awful forums with a rather creepy black and white picture. It showed a playground at some institution with the ever-infamous Slenderman standing in the background. This myth's popularity continued to grow until a video game called Slender, the the 8 pages was made.
Yep.
The Slender Man possesses the
Exactly 10 years ago.
abilities of teleportation, incredible strength, and wondrous stealth. He also seems to possess a unique interest in children. When the Slender Man is near, static is said to be heard. If you look at his blank, soulless face, he will teleport to you and take you to purgatory. Here, he will stalk you for all eternity, or simply kill you off. Some forms of this myth even state that the Slender Man will skin and eat his victims. Slender Man is a mythical figure, often depicted as a tall, thin figure wearing a black suit and a blank face. According to the legend, he can stretch or shorten his arms at will, and has tentacles
he's on a plane!
protruding from his back.
I've had it with this Slender Man on this plane.
The creature can cause memory loss, insomnia, paranoia, coughing fits, and video distortions.
Also, some things about Slenderman have not aged very well. Most notably the incident. Yeah, that one. And I hit the pause button by accident. And also, Sony tried to make a movie out of it, which immediately got controversial because it looked very similar to the incident. So they had to edit it out, and it just made the film even worse.
Abandoned by Disney.
Not
by
this
Disney
one.
Is about a man investigating a shut-down Disney attraction called Mowgli's Palace, located in Guana Key, Bahamas.
Is this the real abandoned Disneyland World place?
When he arrives at Mowgli's Palace, everything appears to be normal. On the outside, it looks like any other old abandoned manor, rotting and overgrown. Upon entering the palace, things begin to get suspenseful. The hooks in the meat freezer were swaying back and forth, and the water was still running in the bathroom.
What is
In the
this?
resort room, the man assumed that he heard a quiet conversation between two people that ended in crying. Then, things took a turn for the worse when the man noticed a mascot-only room. The odd thing about this room was, unlike all the other rooms in the palace, this one still had its lock on. Curious, the man unlatched the lock and entered.
Oh, why would you do
One door
that?
was labeled Character Prep 1, and inside were multiple Disney character costumes, and among these was a photo-negative Mickey Mouse costume lying in the middle of the floor. When he was about to leave the room, the unthinkable happened. The costume stood up and stared directly at the man, and it spoke to him, saying one sentence. The demonic costume then pulled off its head and leaked blood from it. Yellow, chunky blood. The man turned to run and saw 3 words written above the doorway, reading,
Abandoned by God.
After that, he fled from the palace.
Oh boy! You want to see my head come off? Huh?
SuicideMouse.avi.
Oh boy! Another Mickey Mouse one!
SuicideMouse.avi is a lost episode creepypasta and is widely seen as the forefather of the entire lost episode genre. This story is based off of an old, unseen Mickey Mouse episode. The video starts off with a saddened Mickey Mouse walking down a never-ending street while random piano keys are heard playing in the background. After some
this
minutes,
is so surreal.
the video
And what are these filters?
the keyboard being replaced with static. The video blacks out for a whole 4 minutes while a low gurgling sound becomes more and more audible. The sound of a horrific female scream starts playing along with Mickey smirking. The buildings and sidewalks start warping and distorting in different directions, with the distorted screaming lasting a full 8 minutes before abruptly cutting off. A fragmented scene is shown with strange faces, and a man is heard saying, "Real suffering is not known," followed by a gunshot. Mickey Mouse's face is shown to supposedly signify the end of the video, with to what sounds like a broken music box playing in the background.
Oh no!
The Ronald McDonald House. The Ronald McDonald House charity is supposed to provide housing for the families of sick children. Seems innocent, right?
In real life, yeah, this does happen, and it would be nice if you supported them. I mean, they have a presence here, and I support them through volunteering in North Queensland at my day job.
Well, there's another side to the charity. There's another type of Ronald McDonald House. Not many people know about it. There's one in most big cities. You won't find it by looking for it. It doesn't even have an address. It doesn't have a sign above the door, and it doesn't have windows. No, the only way you're gonna find it is if you're taken there. The real Ronald McDonald House is about the slaughter of kids, sadistic torturing, and the underground trade of the snuff film. It's also implied they grind kids up for the use of special ingredient in such meals such as the Big Mac.
I'm sorry, that crossed the line, like, a fair amount. Like, if that was pretty over the top.
If you're taken there, there's no escape. You sealed your fate, and trust me, they take pleasure in driving you insane. Remember, they're always watching.
Well, I guess that's what happens when you put too much trust in a creepy clown. Yeah, he's been watching you and forecasting this happening ever since he was Willard Scott the Weatherman.
Gateway to the Mind.
Oh, I remember this one.
1993, a team of scientists theorized that a human without any of his five senses would be able to perceive the presence of God. They thought the five senses clouded our awareness of eternity, and without them, we could contact God. The test was conducted on an elderly man who had nothing left to live for. They cut off all sensory nerve connections to his brain. 2 days later, the man claimed that he could hear his dead wife speaking to him. The scientists found this interesting, but they weren't convinced. Until he began to name dead relatives of the scientist and their personal information. After a full week of having dead voices in his head, the man became distressed and on the verge of insanity. He began hurting himself, asking for sedatives so he could fall asleep to stop the voices. Sleeping worked for 3 days, until he began having severe night terrors and hearing the deceased in his dreams. 2 days later, the man could no longer form regular sentences and was classified as insane.
What is this footage?
To prevent suicide, and began crying. This kept up for 2 weeks. During one study session, the man turned his head and focused
What
on a
the
sentence
hell?
for the first time in the study, even though he was believed to be blind. He said, "I have spoken with God, and he has abandoned us." Then his vitals stopped, and he dropped dead.
That was scary.
Jeff the Killer. Jeff was a boy.
Of course.
Moved to a new home. The day he moved in, his mother invited him to a birthday party. When him and his brother Louis were waiting at the bus stop, 3 teenagers attacked them. After feeling this odd feeling all day and night, he gets a burst of anger, and he retaliated and got satisfaction from doing it. Jeff and Louis flee from the scene. It so happens their parents find out about it. Jeff and Louis naturally looked guilty after fleeing the scene of the crime, but in an effort to save his little brother, Louis takes the blame and is sent off to juvenile detention. Jeff
For that little a crime?
later attends the birthday party, and the teenagers show up. After a fight between the teens and Jeff is left covered in bleach and alcohol, and taking the opportunity, one of them set Jeff on fire, and he later wakes up in the hospital. Once the bandages are taken off, the family...
That's pretty extreme for a prank. Or a teenage thingamajig. But,
is both afraid and sorry for him.
ugh.
The teenagers later confess it was them who attacked them and Louis. And Louis is taken out of juvenile detention. Jeff's mother checks in on him in the bathroom. and when she enters the room, Jeff's appearance is morbid. He is burnt. He cut off his eyelids so he can never sleep, and has carved his mouth in a way so that he's always smiling.
That's
Jeff
terrifying.
proceeds to tell his mother that he is beautiful, and she should look this way too. The mother runs from the room and alerts her husband, telling him to get his gun. Jeff sees this and violently kills her and
Ah.
the dad.
Oh, jeez.
Enjoys this and gets so much satisfaction from the first two that he decides to head for Louis. He enters his dark room, and Louis is horrified about what he sees.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Jeff sees this and simply tells him, "Shh, go to sleep." The police showed up later. There were no survivors. SmileDog.jpg. SmileDog's story consists of an amateur writer who visits the house of an old lady. Supposedly, she had a story for him which he could use. Rather than speak, however, the woman locked herself up in her room, crying and ranting about nightmares and visions. She then appeared to have killed herself a week later. All of these center around a floppy disk she was given that contained the image smile.jpg.
Damn, a floppy disk. That's going back a fair bit nowadays.
Viewing this image incites insanity in the minds of those who had seen it. These reports continue to happen while the victim is asleep, resulting in very vivid and disturbing nightmares. If you receive an email named Smile, it's important you pass the image on to someone else. Deleting or not viewing the mail will still result in the same hallucinations. If the mail is not sent after 3 days, this picture will deform and show a more demonic smile dog, thus resulting in even worse nightmares. Attaching the file, that is, spreading the word, is the only way to save yourself from the smile dog that appears in your dreams. Some say that the original legend began with an image of the devil.
Jeez.
Zalgo. Zalgo is
What
an
the
internet
heck?
legend about an ominous entity believed
Also,
to
what
cause
is this
insanity,
music? It's-
death and destruction of the world, similar to the creature Cthulhu, created by H.P. Lovecraft. Zalgo is
Of
an
course.
ominous creature that appears to be horror itself, or an ultimate terror all on its own. It's believed to relate to the death of the world, along with the scourge of insanity and other unspeakable things. Most of the time, disfiguration, gore, and dismemberment
What
go
the
hand in
hell?
nature. Zalgo is often associated with scrambled text on web pages and photos of people whose
What?
eyes and mouths have been covered in black. Zalgo often cultivates into simple childish cartoons
SpongeBob?
like strips, which corrupt them and turn them
Garfield?
into entities on paper with nothing but the black eyes and mouth. On forums,
What?
boards, and certainly through emails, scrambled text began appearing with phrases like, "and he waits behind the wall." Parts of the internet become more corrupted, and soon more of its growth started spreading ominously without warning.
What the
It's known
hell?
As he waits behind the wall with 7 hands, armed only with a dead star and a lone candle.
He waits behind the wall?
Username 666.
Oh
This
god,
video shows
no.
what happens when you search for the username 666
Look
on
at
YouTube,
look at this old Internet Explorer.
and then refresh the page a few times. This pasta has actually created a few rumors, one of which is that the original 666 account contained a virus that changed all the texts into sixes. When you search for 666 and refresh the page a couple times,
How are you doing
the
this?
background turns hellish, the video turns creepy, and it's just horrible. If you click on one of the videos, you won't be able to close back up, pause, or shut down your computer until the video ends. It works, but sometimes contains creepy viruses. If you're willing to take the risk of letting it into your system, that's fine, but it messes up computers bad.
There you go.
Just be careful. because sometimes it affects other pages too.
Oh, you can't control or delete it. Oh, you can't shut down either. Oh, what the hell?
1999. The year 1999 remains to be the bloody charred remnants of the destroyed childhoods of the kids of Caldon, Ontario.
What is
The
that?
show consisted of shows such as Mr. Bear's Cellar and Booby.
Booby?
It mainly starred a poor, satanic, middle-aged man and the tortured kids he kept in his basement. His shows would go from average kid show affairs to actually cutting and mutilating the kids on camera. The channel was mainly a way for Mr. Bear to lure kids into his house, in order to get them to participate in satanic rituals, and eventually causing them to be sacrificed. It's rumored that he's also eating kids as well, as seen on his show, Soup and Spoon. His age range consists of children between the ages of 4 and 16.
What?
Before the police took down his setup, he ran away. The blog is still kept to this day, but I'll leave you on one final note. It's said that he's out there, to this day, out there somewhere in the woods of Ontario, Canada, waiting to lure some poor, unsuspecting kids into a burnt-up demise.
Is it still kept up to date to this very day? Oh, man.
The Russian sleep experiment. Russian researchers in the 1940s conducted
Oh
a
god,
test
that
on
guy's
5
naked! Put
This
some
test
clothes
was to
on!
keep these 5 subjects awake for 15 days using an experimental gas. They put the 5 in a room with enough materials to live for the next few weeks. During the first few days, the men were showing normal vitals, but after the 5th day, they began to get paranoid. They ceased talking to each other and began to whisper silently to the microphones. And it just went downhill from there. The men went totally insane. One of them even died in the chamber.
What
The other
the...
men were in terrible condition.
Yeah.
They conducted different tests on them, eventually agreeing on putting them back into the chamber with 3 other researchers to study the further effects of the gas. In a swift motion, one of the researchers grabbed a gun off the commanding officer and shot him, along with one of the now 2 surviving subjects.
Worst carrying of and handling of a gun ever. If someone could just grab it out of your pocket and boom!
He aimed his gun to the last surviving subject and demanded to know what he was. The test subject responded, "Have you forgotten so easily? We are you. We are the madness that lurks within you all, begging to be fed at every moment in your deepest animal mind. We are what you hide from in your beds every night. We are what you sedate into silence and paralysis when you go to the nocturnal haven where we cannot tread." He is then shot by the researcher, and the last words the subject says are, "So nearly free."
Now that is creepy.
Robert the Doll. Robert the Doll actually exists.
He
The myths
does.
surrounding him vary, especially since it became so popular on the internet. The doll was given to an artist in the late 1800s by a servant working in his family home. The doll, which he named after himself, took on a life of its own and began to terrorize the family.
He named it after
It is said
himself?
The owner kept his doll into adulthood, and it subsequently tormented his now late wife to insanity. When the doll was found by another family, the girl to whom it was given to was terrified of it and refused to have it in her room. The doll is currently residing in Fort East Martello Museum in Key West, Florida, still in his sailor suit, holding a little stuffed lion that he appears to be attached to. Some visitors laugh at the stupidity of being afraid of a ridiculous doll, but many change their mind when they see Robert's angry look staring right back at them.
Yeah.
Others try to take pictures of Robert, in this case, and their cameras won't turn on. They replace the batteries, thinking that is the solution. But the new batteries are not working either.
But somehow, whoever's taking this video and looking at that guy doesn't seem to have been affected. Plot hole.
When they leave the museum, the camera's turned on and the battery's fully charged. One male visitor, who didn't believe the curse was true, videotaped his entire day at the museum. When they got to the area where Robert was, the sound of the camera turned off and couldn't be turned back on.
Then how is this video being taken?
For the night, they leave peppermint candy in his case as if to bribe him to be good and not disturb anything during the night. When they return in the morning, the wrappers are left behind at Robert's feet. It's also stated that if people mock him, Robert is said to lay a curse on them, hence all the written apology letters.
What the hell? Well done, everyone. Oh, what are these notes? Guana Key is sometimes as pixelated when viewed from Google Maps. Robert the Doll seems to only affect cameras and not video camcorders. It is also shown to affect lights in the vicinity when electricians came to work. Cameras but not video camcorders. Okay. None of the videos shown show child abuse or mistreatment of children. They are VHS recordings of documentaries of TV shows. Of course. Cupcakes was the first and foremost memorable MLP fanfic creepypasta made, so the other ones like Rainbow Factory and Sweet Apple Massacre are not included. If any of you thought I was cruel to put my sis in the scene with Pink Amina, she herself volunteered for the role, and she also has a giant fear of Pink Amina, so naturally she found the idea humorous in a way, even doing the voice for it. Abandoned by Disney footage was made by myself in 3ds Max. There you go. So, that concludes another React video. And what a journey it's been. Oh gosh, is that time already? Well. So everyone, hope you're having a nice, safe, and fun, but mostly spooky Halloween. Yeah, maybe you're possessed and I don't even know it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that video, and see you next time, I guess. We'll see if I can react to some more before Halloween's over. Or if not now, then later. Bye.